In this video, we're sharing 3 chilling girlfriend horror stories that will make you rethink love. These unsettling tales of obsession and fear are sure to send chills down your spine. Stay tuned for the twists that will leave you questioning everything about romance. For the past week, I've been immersed in no-sleep horror stories. I've read one after another, and an unsettling feeling has taken root in my mind. I constantly feel as if something strange is about to happen. So when last night's events unfolded, instead of reacting normally, I was consumed by fear. Yet now, I can't quite tell if it was all just a figment of my imagination or if something truly terrifying occurred. It all started here. My girlfriend Tinsley and I attend the same university, but we live in separate dorm buildings. Tinsley is quite the lively girl, and we often spend nights in each other's dorms. Last night, I went to stay in her dorm. We've been together for 6 months, and nothing like this had ever happened before. The evening passed quite normally. We were lying in bed, watching a movie streamed on Netflix through her laptop. She was next to me, and I felt completely at ease. But after midnight, something began to change. While we were watching the movie, suddenly, a notification popped up on the laptop screen indicating that the battery was low. Naturally, I asked Tinsley about the charger. "Where's the charger?" She didn't respond. At first, I thought she might not have heard me, so I asked again. "Tinsley, where did you put the charger?" Still no reply, but she continued to stare at me with a vacant look in her eyes, as if she was looking right through me but couldn't comprehend what I wanted. A chill ran down my spine. I asked for the 3rd time, "Where's the charger?" Finally, after what felt like an eternity, she turned her face toward me and whispered, "There's no charger." I was taken aback. Was she joking? The tone in which she spoke raised my suspicions. I forced a chuckle and said, "What are you talking about? Surely there's a charger. You might just be having trouble finding it." Yet her expression didn't change. She continued to stare at me oddly and then said in the same cold voice, "It's not here." After a moment, she whispered again, "Actually, there's nothing." Now my entire body felt icy. I knew Tinsley well. She had never said anything so frightening or philosophical before. I felt a wave of fear wash over me, but I shook it off, thinking it might just be a joke or the result of a bad mood. I found the charger and plugged it in, but as I turned to get back into bed, I suddenly froze. Tinsley lay sprawled across the bed, her arms and legs spread out, as if she wanted to claim every inch of the mattress like Da Vinci's Vitruvian Man. I said, "Move over, I want to lie down." But she didn't budge. That strange look was still in her eyes, and she replied in a chilling voice, "No." I asked, "Why not?" Her response was bizarre. She whispered, "Chosen." With that, she fell asleep. The whole situation felt extremely odd to me. Tinsley had never spoken like that or acted so strangely. I could tell something was definitely off, but exhaustion from the day overwhelmed me, and I lay down on the floor beneath the bed. As the night deepened, I suddenly woke up to laughter. At first, I thought it was a normal laugh, but as I became fully awake, I realized that it was anything but. It was a maniacal laugh. I sat up and saw Tinsley sitting on the bed staring at me and laughing. A wave of dread washed over me. I asked, "What's happening, Tinsley?" As soon as she heard my question, her laughter stopped, and she fixed that vacant stare on me again. After a moment of silence, she said, "Have you ever thought about how easy it would be to kill you while you sleep?" My blood ran cold. I was speechless. After saying that, Tinsley lay back down and immediately fell asleep. I couldn't go back to sleep after that. I sat on the floor, staring at her. With great difficulty and fear, I spent the night sitting on the floor. But when dawn broke, Tinsley seemed completely normal again. She was laughing and chatting, just like before. It was as if the strange events of the night had vanished from her memory. I was left feeling perplexed. How could Tinsley forget so easily? When I asked her about the night's incidents, she confidently claimed she remembered nothing. Laughing, she said, "You must have had a bad dream." There was no hint of doubt in her words, as if nothing had happened at all. But I knew how real those moments from the night had felt. Did Tinsley truly want to do something, or was her behavior merely a product of my imagination? I pondered this all day, Perhaps there's an unknown reason behind Tinsley's strange behavior, something happening within her body or mind that I couldn't comprehend. Tonight, Tinsley has invited me to stay with her again, but honestly, I'm terrified. This was a strange and horrifying incident that occurred a few days ago, plunging me into a confusing and dangerous situation. My girlfriend's name was Jessica. At first, she was an attractive and cheerful woman. Her smile seemed to chase away any sadness, but over time, her nature began to change. Her habits shifted, and I realized she had become a toxic presence in my life. Jessica's toxicity became evident when she started to control me. Whenever I disagreed with her, she began to put psychological pressure on me. She would say, "If you leave me, I won't be able to live," and such statements left me deeply unsettled. I soon realized that her words were not just a game. She started to insult me and spy on my phone, as if my every move was under her surveillance. It wasn't limited to just emotional manipulation. Jessica's behavior grew increasingly unbelievable. One day, while I was on the phone with my mother, she barged in. I refused to let her in at that moment because I knew she wanted to hear what I was saying. She became furious and suddenly said, "If I'm left outside, I'll end my life." I felt anxious, but I knew I was no longer afraid of her. She was simply panicking. One night, fueled by Jessica's despair and rage toward me, I decided to keep her locked out. I knew that if I gave her another chance, she would only make me weaker. She banged on my door all night, but I made it clear that she would not be allowed inside. Eventually, I thought I might have some sympathy for her and agreed to let her in. However, once inside, she became intolerable. She had brought a kitchen knife and tried to attack me in a fit of rage. I panicked and instinctively fought back. During our struggle, as she attempted to stab me, she accidentally injured herself. The knife slipped from her hand and struck her near the ribs. As I watched her bleed, I felt an odd spellbinding sensation. Her blood pouring out horrified me. I realized this was not just a terrifying situation. It felt as if her death was a natural occurrence. A sense of familiarity settled over me. The pain I had caused her felt like a release from the toxic relationship. After her death, I was consumed by panic and fear. I had to bury her body in a hole in my yard because I knew I couldn't afford to think about it. But within a few nights, I started hearing strange noises. Every night as I was falling asleep, an eerie sound drifted from the woods, as if something was digging in search of something. It didn't feel right. At first, I thought it was an animal, but soon I realized it was something different. When I ventured outside that night, I was astonished. I saw a strange entity that seemed to be draped in my dead girlfriend's skin. It was as if this being had taken everything from Jessica, her appearance, her voice, and her mannerisms. I tried to run away, but the entity, now inhabiting Jessica's body, began to call out to me. I realized this being craved my company. It spoke in the voice of my former girlfriend, saying, "I have returned. I cannot let you go." I wanted to back away, but Jessica's voice held me captive. "You killed me, but I did not truly die. I am a part of you," she said, blood-red light radiating from her eyes. "It's impossible," I stammered in fear. "You're dead. I killed you." "Dying doesn't mean release," she replied, her tone mocking. "I don't blame you for what you did, but I've returned and I will be with you." My heart began to race. "I want to leave you," I screamed, but my voice trembled. "You cannot erase me. I will live within you forever," she said, her laughter echoing in the air. I attempted to escape, but she held me fast. "If you run away, I will make your life even more difficult," she threatened. I knew I couldn't get away. "This time, I will not be under your control," I declared, attempting to confront my terror. "Then prepare yourself. You are buried here," she said, and everything around me turned dark. Incredibly, I found myself in that cold grave where I had buried Jessica's body. I realized that this was not just physical death, it was a mental state. "You will never be alone," she said, her laughter rising in the air. I screamed, but my voice was fading. Jessica's dark power would continue to pull me under until I surrendered to her. I to find freedom, I would have to fight, but deep down I understood she would never leave my mind. My name is Ryan, an ordinary guy living a simple life. 2 years ago, I fell in love with one of the most important people in my life, Claire. Claire was extraordinary, beautiful, intelligent, and above all, she loved me in ways I never imagined. Our relationship had perfect balance, but sometimes the depth of her love left me speechless. Claire's family was extremely wealthy, and their luxurious lifestyle came naturally to them. 3 months ago, we moved in together in an apartment, one of her family's buildings. I felt incredibly lucky. We had everything we could ever need, but one thing unsettled me: her overwhelming love for me. I loved her, but I felt a strange pressure, something that often left me uneasy. It was as if she had a secret plan involving me. One evening, we were relaxing in front of the TV when Claire suddenly turned to me with a serious look and said, "I can't live without you." I laughed and brushed it off as a joke, replying, "Of course you can." But the intensity in her gaze stopped me. She stared deeply and said, "You are everything to me. Without you, I'm nothing." There was something in her voice that sent a shiver down my spine. I knew she loved me, but this much? Was I entering a place where my very existence was being threatened? The thought kept spinning in my mind. Why is Claire acting so strangely? That feeling of discomfort grew inside me each day. One day, while she was out, I was home alone and noticed her building ID card. Curiosity got the better of me. I decided to take a look around the more exclusive parts of the building. I checked out the gym, the pool, and the game room, all of which were impressive. But when I went downstairs, I stumbled upon something that would change my life forever. There was a small office, likely for managing the building. Inside, I noticed some strange filing cabinets, a desk, and unexpectedly a door. I opened it, and what I saw became the most horrifying experience of my life. The room was a modern medical lab. Glass cylinders filled with liquid lined the walls, and inside those cylinders floated a face, my face. Panic washed over me. I was staring at myself, but how could that be possible? Was I dreaming, or had something truly beyond my comprehension just unfolded? I frantically searched the room and found some files in the drawers. One of the files contained a picture of Claire's mother, but she looked much younger. I also found an acting resume with her name on it. Suddenly, everything made sense. I wasn't just her boyfriend. I was possibly nothing more than a replaceable copy. Claire's family had created a backup of me, just in case they ever lost me. Her intense love now fit perfectly with this twisted plan. I stood there thinking, how is this even possible? Did Claire know, or was this entirely her family's doing? Cold sweat dripped down my forehead as I rushed back to the apartment. Claire's face flashed through my mind. Did she truly love me, or was I just part of her family's elaborate security plan? Should I run from this relationship or dive deeper into the mystery and uncover the truth? The next day, I made a decision. I would investigate this further without letting Claire know. I needed time. I tried accessing the building's security footage, but that wasn't possible. However, I noticed something strange on the days Claire's family members visited the building. They were involved in some unusual activity inside the building, and Claire seemed to be a part of it. A terrifying thought hit me. Was I a clone? Did I have any real existence, or was I just some artificial creation? I was trapped in Claire's overwhelming love and her family's conspiracy. Would I ever escape this trap, or would I lose everything? Claire's deep, consuming love was slowly becoming toxic, and I had no idea how I would balance love and fear in this darkening reality.